Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. It's Key Time. Please follow, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports on YouTube, and also go follow Key City Sports on Instagram. So now, last night we had a Monday night football game. There was a lot to unravel from this. And also, there are three trades or three contract disputes that are going on currently in the NFL right now. But first, I would like to talk about last night's Monday night football game. The Bengals defense has a lot of work to do in a small amount of time because last night against the run, they were not successful against the run. One thing, the Washington Commanders, they had a few long runs in the first quarter. One went for 27, one went for 37, and another one went for 40 yards. So the Bengals, one thing I can say, we can say that their starters played, their starters looked great. Joe Burrow, 9 of 14, 62 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions. Jake Browning, backup, well, potential backup, 16 of 25, 159 yards, two touchdowns, zero interceptions. Desmond Riddle, 101, 7 yards. Also, another thing, the Cincinnati Bengals rushing game did not crack 100 yards. And you all know how I feel about when it comes to a rushing game. If it doesn't crack 100, if it doesn't crack over 100 yards, then the running game is non-existent. And the running game last night for the Bengals was non-existent. But the Bengals, they have centered their salary cap around the offense, which is just three guys. Three guys: Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. Which leads I'm gonna get into my other take when it comes to Trey Hendrickson in a few minutes. But as far as the Bengals, last season the defense was awful. This season, the defense is going to be awful. No matter what, the Bengals defense is going to be down in the dumps this year. They are not going to be able to get off the field on third down consistently like the team needs to. Last night, there for a minute there, they were in a shootout. It was 14-21. Then it was first off, excuse me, it was 14-14, then 21-14, and then the Commanders, they took out their starters, and that's why they won the game. That's why the Bengals won the game. So one thing that I can say is for the Bengals, their future, their future outlook is tough. I'm going to even show you who they have on their schedule. Their schedule, I'm going to tell you that their regular season schedule, it is pretty tough because the defense is going to be in for a rude awakening. First off, for their schedule, they got divisional round. I mean, they have a divisional game first against Cleveland. We all know that when the Bengals and the Browns play, it's anybody's game. But there are a few teams that are on their schedule that I know that are going to give them problems. Denver. Denver is going to be a tough outing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Possibly Detroit. Green Bay is going to be a tough outing. Not to mention the Cincinnati Bengals have the Baltimore Ravens twice on their schedule, and they have the Pittsburgh Steelers twice on their schedule. And last season, the Bengals versus the Ravens and the Steelers had a tough time getting off the field on third down, and I expect that to happen again. So the Bengals, they are going to be in offensive shootouts every game this season. One thing I've noticed is since 2020, the Bengals are 1-9 in the first two games of the season. They always start out 0-2, 1-3, or even there was one time where they started out 0-4. 0-4. And that is not a good sign to lose that many games so early in the season. Now you have to cover some ground. You have to win. Like, I'm going to say this. If the Bengals start out 0-4, if they lose their first four games, then that would mean they would have to come back and win their next four going into a bye week. Going into a bye week, they would have to win Detroit, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, New York, or Chicago. So the Bengals, defensively, they're going to be atrocious. Offensively, Joe Burrow is going to have to carry them. And now, which leads into, not to mention, they do have Buffalo on the schedule. And that is a game that they will be going to in week 15, December 7th, week 15. So you have Buffalo, Baltimore twice. You have Pittsburgh. You have Denver in the Rocky Mountains. And then you have Green Bay in Lambeau Field. So those are 5 potential games that could go either way. But the defense is going to have significant trouble in trying to stop Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Bo Nix. That is elite category. And Bo Nix, he is a superstar in the making. He is a cornerstone. He is a cornerstone franchise player. Most people, from what I'm hearing coming out of Broncos camp, they have their guy, and I said that last year. You have your quarterback for the future. Now back to the Bengals. Where do I even see the Bengals getting to the playoffs? I do, but it will be as a wild card. They will be a wild card team, and I would not be surprised if the Bengals lose to an inferior team in the playoffs, because defense, that is the downfall of the Bengals. That's been the downfall of them for the last couple of years, the defense. Now, my next topic, the Trey Hendrickson trade, potential trade and contract dispute. The Bengals, they're old-fashioned. They do not like paying players what they are worth. They didn't start paying players what they were worth until Joe Burrow a couple of years ago in 2023. Then last season, T. Higgins. Then you have Jamar Chase. And now you are going into a season where you have one of your most important guys on the defense, and you don't have him under contract. So Paul Brown, the Bengals owner, he is old-fashioned. So he's not going. He doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to pay Trey Hendrickson. That is why the Broncos are giving permission to Trey Hendrickson to go and find a possible trade that is suitable for him. The Bengals have already said that they want more than just a first-round pick for him. So what I'm thinking is, if Trey Hendrickson gets traded from the Bengals, this will be a trade where you will have 3 first-round picks, a conditional second-round draft pick, and 2 conditional third-round picks for future drafts. I believe that is a good trade talk table, and I think that is going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, but from what I'm hearing, there are quite a few teams that are interested in having Trey Hendrickson. One team that is on the list is the New England Patriots. Another team on the list is the Las Vegas Raiders, another team that is on the list from the NFC, the Eagles. But I think the Eagles, they already have a lot of players on their team, and they don't need another big time player on the defense. So also the Texans are another team that is in that is in the running for Trey Hendrickson. Now, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm not trying to trade Trey Hendrickson to a team that I'm going to face this season. Preferably, I want to trade him out of conference. Out of conference and not to a team that is on my schedule because I know he is going to wreak havoc if if the Bengals have him traded to a team that is on their schedule. Now the Cincinnati Bengals historically they haven't been the kind of team that has been in the playoff conversation as much or having Super Bowl aspirations as much because there was a time way back in the day, well technically not back in the day, but earlier this century where the Bengals, if anybody needed a win versus the Bengals, they could get one because they didn't have a dynamic team like they have. But the defense is going to be their downfall. Is going to be, but all in all, this was a very entertaining preseason game. One thing I can say is cut down day for the NFL is exactly in a week. Next week, the August 26th, they have to cut down their roster from whatever the players are now, from a 75-man roster to a 53-man roster. And then the following week is the first week of the regular season, September 4th. September 4th is right around the corner. My Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles will kick off the season opening night. Now, let me get to my next topic. It leads right into my next topic. Micah Parsons. Jerry, Mr. Jones, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, the Jones family, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, you have Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, he's not even stressing over this anymore. He's not. Micah Parsons, the contract that he desires, I'm going to get my numbers out here because I'm a businessman and I know what kind of numbers he wants. He wants a contract starting out with $44 million over the next 5 years. So what I'm saying is a $185 million contract, $44 million starting this year, guaranteed, and over time, I'm going to say $185 million. Let's see how much guaranteed that would be. $115 million guaranteed. So that's why I say most important thing in these contracts now is the guaranteed dollars. And that is not just for the NFL. That is just for the average working person. I am going to bring this back to life. I'm going to bring the money back to everyday life. Everybody wants comfort at a job that they are at. No matter now, if they do get a promotion, fine and dandy. But hey, everybody, and I do mean everybody, is looking for comfort at the job that they are at. So, Jerry, please don't mess this up. Michael Irvin, he already done talked to Jerry Jones and Troy Aikman. He has given his take on how this trade is going to play out. Now, Cowboys, they are not going to trade Michael Parsons at all. I just believe that Jerry Jones, he is an old-fashioned businessman. The man is 80 plus years old. We don't do handshake deals anymore, Jerry. Now, I love you, Jerry. I love you. The Dallas Cowboys are my favorite team. I grew up watching you. And it has been 30 years. I keep on saying that 30 years since I seen a Super Bowl trophy. I'm tired of dusting off the Dallas Cowboys trophy every August and saying, yeah, man, 1992 was a good year for us. 1994 was a good year for us. 1995 was a good year for us. And then all of a sudden, we've gone on a drought where we haven't made the NFC championship game in 30 years. Come on, Jerry. We trying to turn the tide. We trying to give the new and young and upcoming Dallas Cowboy fan base something to cheer about because I want a Super Bowl trophy. I want that elusive 6 Super Bowl trophy, and I know that we can get it. It's just, Jerry, you've got to put your pride aside. You got to let your people make the calls when it comes to getting these players signed. A GM, a GM, the Cowboys, they need a GM. And one thing that I would like to do, if I could help out the Cowboys as a GM, I would. I would, and I want to. Jerry, this is my formal invitation. If you need help, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me through my email. You can reach out to me through YouTube, Instagram, wherever you can, because I don't want to see my team, fall off into oblivion and not be able to get back to a Super Bowl. And like you've always been saying, the time is ticking for you. You want to see a Super Bowl before you perish, Jerry. I understand that. And I've been a diehard Cowboys fan ever since I was 3 years old. I want to see my team in the big dance. The Dallas Cowboy fan base, we want to see our team in the big dance. Like I said yesterday in my show, the NFC Championship game last year was the Commanders and the Eagles. I covered that game, and let me tell you, I was just saying that I'm like, the Cowboys need to be here. It shouldn't be Washington and Philly. It should be Dallas and Philly, or Washington and Dallas, not just these two. And one thing I can say, team management, it's been a problem. Jerry, every decision he makes, he has pride. He has pride with his decision making. Also, there have been some teams. Dallas has had some good teams over the years, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. 2014 was a good year for Dallas. They made it to the playoffs. They could have made it to the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for that call that referee made for Dez Bryant. Then a couple years later, 2016, they could have made it to the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for the Green Bay Packers. Then 2018, they could have made it to NFC Championship game if it wasn't for the Rams. Then we get to 2022. If it wasn't for the 49ers, then 2023, if it wasn't for the 49ers, 2024, last season, Dak got injured. This season, Brian Schottenheimer is at the helm. And one thing about Brian Schottenheimer I can say, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I'm trying to keep an open mind when it comes to having Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Now we know Brian Schottenheimer's dad, the great Marty Schottenheimer, created a name for the Schottenheimer family in the NFL. Now, one thing about Brian Schottenheimer's track record, over the last few months, I've been looking at his track record, and the offenses that he has had, none of them have been better than 13th. 13th in the NFL. And he has been on 8, and I do mean 8 NFL teams. None of those teams has had an offense better ranked than 13th in the NFL. Now, Jerry, in this situation, he wants to have a elusive offense. He wants to have the kind of offense that can dominate a game without having to depend on the defense. Now, and preferably, I want an offense like that too. So, Brian Schottenheimer, this might be this. I'm not gonna say Brian Schottenheimer is on the hot seat, but what I'm going to say is I'm going to look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule because we got a tough schedule. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that Dallas Cowboys, they have a tough schedule, and it seems like every year they always have a tough schedule. If everybody, you see where I'm coming from, you get my drift when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody that the most excruciating team in the NFL, but we always dominate the television rating. So Dallas Cowboys, their schedule. Philadelphia, week 1. I know that's going to be a tough game, but that game could go either way. The next 2 games, New York and Chicago. Chicago, they have a young up-and-coming team. That game could go either way. New York should be it should be a game where the Cowboys can take care of business, but another division rival. Then you get to Green Bay, Sunday Night Football, week 4. The Green Bay Packers have never lost in AT&T Stadium. Can we do something about that, Dallas? Please. I want to be able to rejoice when I come in here on Monday, October 6th. I want to be able to just be happy. Well, excuse me. September 29th, which is that Monday after the game, I want to be able to come in here and say that the Dallas Cowboys have finally beat the Green Bay Packers in AT&T Stadium for the first time since AT&T Stadium has been open since 2009. I want to be able to say that. And then you see that after that, there are 2 games where they have against the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. That should be an easy, and I do mean that should be easy for them to take care of business with the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. Arizona over the past 2 years, Dallas Cowboys have always had trouble with them. Week 11, they have the Las Vegas Raiders. November 23rd, week 12, Philadelphia. Thanksgiving Day, they have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, that's a blockbuster game. That is the one game that everybody is looking forward to. No matter who plays the first game, we all know it. We always know it's Detroit that play the first game. But Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs. You have the most valuable franchise in the NFL in the Dallas Cowboys playing against the most current valuable franchise in the NFL. And that makes for good television. That makes for good money on Thanksgiving for the NFL. Now, one thing that at the end of the season, towards the tail end of the season, the Cowboys have the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Los Angeles Chargers. We know that that's going to be tough. And then they have Washington and New York to finish out the season. I'm being optimistic about my Cowboys. I am. I could see us winning, I'm going to say 10 or 11 games and getting into the playoffs. Now, the question is, how far can we get in the playoffs? But Dak has already assured me and all the other Cowboy fans that he said to the Los Angeles Rams owner, Stan Kroenke, that we will see. He's like, we're going to see y'all in the NFC Championship game. Now, even though it's early in the season, I like the kind of confidence that Dak Prescott has. Being able to walk up to the owner of a franchise in the same league that you play in and say, we're going to see you in the NFC Championship game. I'm all for it. I am all for it. Now, that's all I got to say about the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. The final, and I do mean the final, my final take is Terry McLaurin. He just came back. He just came back for practice. But a contract has not been reached yet. Now, one thing I can say is when it comes to Terry McLaurin, he is the most valuable he is the most valuable player on the offense outside of Jaden Daniels when it comes to the Washington Commanders offense. I didn't see much of him last night. Deebo Samuel, he had a good showing. That is their new offseason addition. Now, the Washington Commanders, a team that is going to make the playoffs. Philadelphia, I can see them making the playoffs. But one thing, as far as long term, the Washington Commanders need to extend Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin. Now, if you want to have the kind of season that you had last year, Washington Commanders fans, you want to make sure that all of your top players are under contract or they have extending contracts, signed contract extensions. Terry McLaurin. Washington Commanders, get Terry McLaurin, have him sign a contract extension to his liking before the season starts, because he's already, this season, he's just going to make $35 million. And that ain't enough. That ain't enough because he has been through thick and thin. The times that the Washington Commanders were not even worth watching, he has been there through all of that. He has been there through all of that, and now it is time for him to get paid what he is worth. And now, this was a quick show. I wasn't going to go long with this show. So, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please click the notification bell to Keytime Sports on YouTube. Please click the notification bell for Key City Sports on Instagram. And also, one last thing. I'm going to say this again, just in case if anybody missed it. Cut down day for the NFL is on August 26th. That is next Tuesday. They have to cut down the rosters from a 75-man roster to a 53-man roster. So we done got down to the nitty-gritty time. When it comes to roster spots are on the line. Team structure is on the line. And also the NFL season is in a matter of 2 weeks away. So we are going to have a good time. Plus, not to mention, college football starts this weekend. I'm going to be covering Iowa State and Kansas State. So you do not want to miss my prediction for that game and all of the games for college football week 0. That show will be on Friday morning. And with that, that is my reactions to last night's preseason game, plus the contract dispute / trade talks when it comes to Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, and Terry McLaurin. One last thing, everybody. Remember, the key is always on time.